with me, you hear? Hell's coming with me!
Woo! And hell cometh. It came this week for a few teams. If I don't knock my damn camera over, I'm over here fumbling worse than damn Jackson Arnold did. Damn. People are already losing their noodles and wetting their diapers over one loss, ain't they? I just want to come in here today and do a recap of this past week. Do a few topics, maybe talk about the Oklahoma-Tennessee game and the reactions and maybe the overreactions to it. The USC SKITTLE shitters went to Michigan and promptly shat the bed. People always ask me why I spell it. What the word SHAAT is. It's just a way of getting around the censors. But yeah, big win for Michigan. Going forward for Sharon Moore, take some heat off of him. But the question is, like I said before, even though that USC did beat LSU, how good is USC and LSU? And we found out that USC wasn't good enough to win on the road against a Michigan team that was in disarray, in my opinion. They had plenty of opportunities to take Michigan down, and they didn't. It speaks volumes, once again, of Tebow, the bitch out west. That's Lincoln Riley. The nickname that the Oklahoma Sooners give him. Old Linky boy. That's what I like to call him. Old Stinky Linky. Once again, couldn't close the deal. He's been known to do that quite a few times throughout the history of his college football coaching career. Coach Prime, the icon man, as it says in the title here, wants everybody to give him and his son Sakazulu some respect, man. Come on, man. We won. We beat Baylor. You know, a team that was, 3-9, 4-8 last year. Man, you got to give us some respect now, man. You got to put some respect on our name. Even though we threw a damn Hail Mary and got lucky that Baylor fumbled the ball at the 1 yard line, y'all have to respect us now because we're 3-1. Well, guess what, Con Time? Buddy, you was 3-1 last year this time. Yeah, you was 3-0 at one point. And then, just like your counterpart, Linky boy, you shat the bed. That's right. You shat the bed. All right. Already in here is 1989 M. He says, I've never been so disgusted every Michigan win. I don't think. Imagine getting paid all that money. That's the best game plan you can come up with. By God, that was ugly. Yeah, but y'all won, man. Y'all did me a huge solid yesterday. Y'all give me something to look forward to today, and that is grilling the Skittle shitters. Once again, it's one of my favorite things, man, and you allowed for that. The Michigan Wolverines allowed for that to happen today, and it took a little sting off of the Oklahoma people that are, up in here a lot. They support my channel a lot. It helps them out a little bit, ease some of the pain. Plus, Okie Chokie Pokey State lost too. So, yeah. I was on the message board saying I'm more sad that the Sooners came up short than I was happy that the Wolverines beat the used condoms. The bomb's in the house. The bomb has his badge and he is deputized. Oh my, we were horrible, says the bomb. Yeah, well, there was a lot of ugliness going on in that game, not just from Oklahoma. People forget that Tennessee, a lot of people in the Tennessee contingent and a lot of the prognosticators out there were saying that Tennessee was going to win this game by 50 points or at least score 50. They barely got halfway there. Just got halfway there at 25. So, I don't know. Y'all want to get right into that? We will. I was going to start out with the USC Skittle Shitters in Con Time. But, yeah. That game, the Oklahoma game, while it was ugly at times, Michael Hawkins was probably a bright spot to me. He came in and he done decent for a guy coming off the bench as a freshman. The defense looked like a championship defense to me. So you can take that solace. That did hold them to 25 points. And what I get really aggravated about is some of the stuff I'm seeing from Tennessee people and Josh Heupel. And Josh Heupel, and I'll pull that up for y'all in just a second. Josh Heupel, let's see what we got here on old Joshy boy. Seems to think that Tennessee owes him a little more. Or not Tennessee, but Oklahoma owes him a little more, right? Let's see what we got here. All right. All righty. I don't think that's the right one. Let me pull it back up. It's Josh Heupel. It says here, the emotion in his voice and face said it all for Tennessee coach Josh Heupel last Saturday night. And his much anticipated return to his alma mater. All week long, he said this wasn't about him, right? Scroll on down here, when it was over, family members and players and former teammates embraced him before he exited. The normally stoic Heupel was clearly moved as Tennessee quarterback Nico Amaliva, whatever his last name is, presented him with the game ball. The game was never about me coming back here, not for this football team, Heupel said in his post-game conference. I say all that, but they understood this one was a little bit different for me personally. You see, he's talking out of both sides of his mouth here, class. It's not about me coming back, but this is a little bit different for me personally. Well, if it's not about you, then why you saying it's about you personally, man? He was even more emotional in the locker room and had to pause a couple of times while talking to his players. If it wasn't about you, man, then why are you getting so upset? I appreciate you all having a little extra for me. Me. It's all about you, Josh. Right there, you just said it yourself, man. And I know he's a former Oklahoma player, and y'all love Josh Heupel for bringing y'all that national championship in 2000. But he said some stuff this past week in a tweet and a few other things that makes me think he's still got a bit of an axe to grind. And he may have a good reason for that. But at the same time, don't be disingenuous, Josh, and act like this ain't about you. We also had numerous complaints from the Tennessee fans. The Tennessee fans were basically saying that the Tennessee fans were saying that your field was shit. That come from their mouth. They're the ones that said it. They're the ones that were going around on the internet talking about how bad the field was, and if the field hadn't been so bad, they would have scored more points. Then there was Josh Heupel supposedly saying, I haven't seen the comment yet, but I was told by numerous people that Josh said that he let off the gas against Oklahoma. I don't think so. You know, Josh, you can say that and try to make yourself look good and pat yourself on the back, but I don't think you need to be patting yourself on the back, brother, for not running a score up on Oklahoma, because that's not what happened. What happened was Oklahoma's defense stopped your offense, okay? I don't believe that. I won't believe that Josh backed off and allowed Oklahoma to get within 10 points in striking distance and winning that game. All they got to do is get a 2-point conversion late, and they're within one score. An onside kick in a one-score game and possibly win the damn thing in overtime. So, yeah, Josh, if he said that, that's a backhanded. That's not even a backhanded compliment. It's just backhanded towards the Oklahoma defense. That's giving the Oklahoma defense no credit whatsoever if you say you let up, which I don't believe you did. And then you're going to talk about the field. Well, you played there. You and your team played there, man. I don't think Josh said it about the field, but numerous people were saying it after the game, some of the players I heard, that the Oklahoma football field was trash and that they couldn't get their footing, that the field was in piss poor shape. I don't know. I wasn't there. Maybe you guys and gals in the comment section can let me know whether any of this stuff is true. All I'm saying is that while I understand your love for Josh Heupel and what he did for the University of Oklahoma, some of the shit he's saying, he shouldn't be able to slide on that. And it's going to come around. As you saw this week, when a good defense gets a hold of Nico He starts fumbling the ball. The only difference was Oklahoma fumbled it back to him and was unable to capitalize on those mistakes. If Nico and Tennessee continue to let defenses get to Nico and the quarterback and he continues fumbling the ball like that, Tennessee will lose 2 or 3 games this year. There ain't going to be no Tennessee's back shit because they're going to lose 2 or 3 games. If they're not careful, they'll lose 4 games. So you're not back yet, Tennessee. Oklahoma did you a huge solid by not capitalizing on those 2 turnovers deep in their territory. Another thing that aggravated me about the Oklahoma game, a lot of people didn't agree. Some people didn't agree with me when I said this, but at the very beginning of the game, when Tennessee was up 3-0, Oklahoma drives the length of the field, goes down there and gets to the 20-yard line. This is right on the cusp of the red zone, and it's 4th and 1. And what do? You go for the field goal. It's still very early in the game. I understand a lot of people are going to come back and say, well, they went for it on 4th down later in the game and didn't get it. So, yeah, but this was a lot different. This was deep in Tennessee's territory at the 20-yard line. So if you go for it there, you're not really going to put your defense in a bad spot. Now, from what I heard from some of the Oklahoma fans out there, Johnny Johns in particular, and Johnny may have this wrong. I don't know, because I didn't watch the middle quarters. Y'all have to tell me. He said that Oklahoma went for it on 4th and short. I don't know whether it was 1 or 2 yards, but it was at midfield. At that point, if you're going for it on 4th and 1 at midfield, you're actually putting the other team in a better position if you don't make it. If you go for it early at the 20-yard line and you make it, which I think they would have because you had momentum at that time. You wasn't rattled. Later on in the game when you went forward, you was a little bit rattled. I think y'all would have converted that. Y'all probably would have scored a touchdown, and that would have changed the complexion of the game entirely. So I think that one call, that one coaching call that early in the first quarter, to me, set the tone for the whole game. What it said to me was, we're here to play close. We're here not to lose. And Brent Venables has got to understand, man, you got to play to win. He says all the right things and has the mannerisms and the monotone in his voice that seems like Brent Venables is a sure enough badass. But on 4th and 1 at the 20-yard line of your opponent, that early in the game, when you can still recover, and if you don't make it, you got them backed up to their 20-yard line, you should have went for that. You should have went for it, man. You need to play to win. Not play not to lose. Not play to keep it close, which is what y'all did by doing that. I don't know who made that call, who was allowed to make that call, but to me, the buck stops at the top. I know a lot of people want to blame Seth Luttrell. Who hired Seth? After Jeff Lebby left, Brent Venables could have done a nationwide search, and what did he do? He stayed in-house with Seth Luttrell, right? Or close to in-house. If it wasn't in-house, it was close enough. With the kind of money that Oklahoma supposedly has, I may be wrong, they may not have enough money to get a great offensive coordinator. I don't know. They should have got a better offensive coordinator name than Seth Luttrell. But it's not really Seth's fault, like people want to say. That call, that kind of call, the 4th and 1 call, always stops at the top. They might try to blame it on Seth, but I guarantee you, Brent Venables had to sign off on that. And Brent Venables signed off on going for a field goal and playing it safe. When your first game in the SEC, you want to step up to the plate, you want to be aggressive, you want to make a statement, you go for it on 4th and 1 at the opponent's 20-yard line instead of tying it up 3-3. That's just my opinion on that. And it set a bad tone to me. It was like I got a bad feeling from there forth. You can ask Killer Breeze and a bunch of other people that were in the chat with me last night when the game was going on. I said that right out the gate, and my feeling ended up coming true. So see what we got here. We got Cam Larry Trowicki's in the house. He's our resident Nebraska Cornhusker. who, by the way, Nebraska did lose to Illinois in a matchup of undefeated teams. I hated that for you, Larry. I really wanted the Cornhuskers to win, but in a way I do like Brett Bielema. For some reason, I've always liked that guy. I know a lot of people don't like him, but I like Brett Bielema, and I'm glad to see Brett Bielema is succeeding at Illinois. Although I still want to see Nebraska reemerge as a national power. Nebraska being good is important to college football, in my opinion. Go ahead and bring something else up for y'all. See what we got here. This is a Sooner reaction real quick. I want y'all to see this and see what y'all think.
I liked our QB2, Hawkins. Loved seeing him play. A lot better than I thought he was. Happy after Arnold made all the mistakes that our coach decided to pull him, or whoever decided to pull him. But overall, I thought our defense played really well. Offense played about how it was going to go, and I think we helped Tennessee to probably less points than they thought they were going to score.
Our O-line obviously needs some work. Offense as a whole, Arnold wasn't performing as expected. Our defense looks super solid, though. I think if we can continue to run with that and just keep getting some reps on the offense, we'll look pretty good in a few weeks.
Where do you think they go from here at quarterback?
I think everyone has a bad night, so I think you got to stick with Arnold. It's always good to get your backup some reps, but I think we'll see Arnold back again next week.
I mean, after the second half, who doesn't want Hawkins to play the next game? But Arnold's a 5-star prospect, so hopefully he can live up to it. And, you know, maybe mid-season you start looking at another quarterback, see who's going to play. You know?
Stop that right there. All right. What do you think about that? The guy said that Jackson Arnold's a 5-star player. It's like that means something. It don't mean shit. It just means that you got a 5-star player. That's all that means. Lots of times players get in there with 5 stars, and they're no better than your 3-star. See it all the time, man. It's called evaluating. Don't just go out there and recruit someone just because they have a 5-star by the name. Usually they bump them up to a 5-star just because big teams start recruiting. It's very, 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 very misleading. Thunder OU Center's in the house. He says Tennessee fans are making excuses that the spiel was slippery. OU defense was that good. Josh Heupel was lucky. OU offense was horrible. Exactly. If Tennessee had played that way somewhere against another team that maybe doesn't make those mistakes, Tennessee probably loses that game by a couple of scores, man. Just like I said. Like I said in the chat the other night with a bunch of people in here, Killer Breeze and all you guys, Thunder OU Sooner, who's in the house as well. Fred Bagley's in here as well, I think. Yeah. It just made absolutely no sense whatsoever, man. Just this. I'm not even going to go there. But let me bring something up real quick for y'all. Let me look at something real quick. All right. The takeaway from this game from ESPN, the offense was solid despite struggling with injuries and starting offensive tackles, blah, 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 blah. The Volunteers didn't put up crazy numbers that they had in their first 3 games. They were averaging 63 points a game coming into this game. They didn't get nowhere near close to that, did they? But they did enough. Of course, Tennessee, ESPN going to deflect on that shit because they got a little man crush on it. ESPN seemed like got a little man crush on Tennessee for some reason. Takeaway for Oklahoma, the Sooners could not block the Volunteers, so their quarterbacks were under duress all night. Add in-game injuries to receiver Nick Anderson and running back Taylor Tatum, and all snowballed. And I noticed in a couple of those early carries by Taylor, seemed like he got dinged up a little bit in the first quarter. one of the Tennessee guys looked like he might have targeted him a little bit, but hell, if it's anybody else, if it was Alabama or Oklahoma or Michigan or anybody else, man, they'd be calling that shit, right? But whatever, man. It's just wasn't a good look. I mean, some of the stuff that Tennessee's saying is not a good look for them. They need to try to win with grace for a change, but they can't do that. Y'all learn that. Y'all always warning us about Texas people and Texas fans. I'm telling you, y'all got to watch them Tennessee people. And if y'all go to Knoxville next year and play them, yeah, as a visiting fan, better be ready to fight somebody because usually they'll try to start shit with you. The Sooners held the Volunteers to 6 points and 141 yards in the second half. Like I said, you can't ask much more than that. Defense did what it was supposed to do. That's a championship kind of defense. But the offense, not so much. I think we did everything we could, said Danny Stutzman. I mean, obviously, defense didn't play perfectly. We made a ton of mistakes, myself included. Really, they shouldn't score any points, and we'll win every game. Well, yeah, that is true. So, yeah, there's that. Let me bring one more up for y'all. And then we'll try to move on to something else if you want to. All right, there it is. There's the stats for the game. Passing yards, Nico Amaleva, whatever his last name is, 194 yards passing, 1 touchdown. That's pretty paltry considering all the shit they were talking about, how we're going to put up 50 points on Oklahoma. Michael Hawkins come in was serviceable at 11 of 18 for 132 yards and a touchdown. He's a true freshman, right? Or is he a redshirt freshman? Rushing yards, Sampson had 24 carries for 92 yards, and Hawkins was your leading carrier. After Tatum got dinged early, man, that sort of screwed things for y'all. Y'all were piling up some injuries. I mean, I felt bad for you. Receiving yards, McCoy had 4 receptions for 92 yards, and Petway for Oklahoma had 3 receptions for 79 yards. So, Tennessee did not impress me. They think this was going to impress me and it was going to shut me up. It's not. It's going to make me worse. It's just going to make me worse. Let's see what we got up in here now. R says he doesn't think Hawkins is the answer. Well, thank you, R, for that input. Wish you had a longer name. Leland Shanks is in the house. You're right. My question is, why didn't they put Hawkins in the third quarter? I don't know about that. Like I said, I missed the second and the third quarter. I was taking care of some things, but I thought Hawkins started in the third quarter. Did they not put Hawkins in the third quarter? Kinda a engineer says, time to open the wallet. If Texas can be good, so can we. I agree. Mr. Dilly Gaff, I guess I think that stands for something profane. Mr. Dilly Gaff says we need an actual quarterback coach. You like someone that actually played quarterback, i.e. Sam Bradford, Jason White, Cale Gundy. Y'all don't get me started on the Cale Gundy shit. Because while I like Brett Venables, I think he buckled a little bit on that, man. I think he could have probably stood behind Cale Gundy, man, and everything would have been all right. You just have to stand up to these politically correct jackasses out there, and eventually they'll cower down because they're cowards. Killer says, trying to meet me without me, I see. Well, I didn't know, man. I was just doing this last minute. I didn't know if you'd be available or not. I don't like just dropping something on someone at the last minute. You know what I'm saying? The bomb says, hell no, we shouldn't stay with Arnold. I guess you're referring to that video earlier. That guy, I can't believe he said that. I'm like, as well as Hawkins played to me, a guy coming in off the bench cold, and is he a true freshman? But anyway, I know he's a freshman of some sort, and he come in and he done a serviceable job to me. They might think about looking at that, but I would like to caution that and saying that I thought the same thing about Jalen Milroe last year when he stunk it up against Texas and cost us the game. Same thing with Jackson Arnold. He had a couple of turnovers that cost Oklahoma the game. So did Jalen Milroe against Texas last year. And he got benched the next game, and we didn't look too good. So we went back with Jalen Milroe, and he started to develop as the season progressed, because that's what you have to do with these guys. I mean, practice and spring practice and fall practice and all that stuff. They've never been a starter before. Don't prepare them for the grind that they're about to endure. And usually it takes them to the middle of the season to sort of hit their stride, sort of like Jalen Milroe did. So, I'm not saying that you should start Jackson Arnold next week, because it could be an entirely different set of circumstances, like it always is. But I'm just saying, don't, overreact to this, because it's one bad game. I would say have an open competition this week, and if you still feel comfortable that Jackson Arnold was just having that one bad game, then put him back in there. But from what a lot of Sooner fans are saying, even the wins this year, Jackson Arnold hasn't looked crisp. Looks like he's pressing. Me and Killer Breeze talked about that in the chat the other night. Looks like he's pressing a little bit. Just got to let things come to it. Don't force it. Don't press it. And in the Arizona game, he was sort of thrown in the fire there, so you can excuse that Arizona Bowl loss last year. But now the season's progressed and you're into week 4. This is where you might want to think about a quarterback change, I would think. R says, with NIL, these kids better perform. Killer Breeze says Hawkins has to be the guy at Auburn, and he hates that for JF. Who's JF? Jackson Arnold, right? I'm not saying no cuss words, man. You're trying to get me in trouble. Eric Taco Marino's in the house. He's here. Congrats to Coach Heupel and the Vols on a hard-fought win. OU's O-line and quarterback play is what sealed the win for the Vols, along with that nasty Vols D next year in their house. And OU victory, says Steve Lees. Well, I mean, I would congratulate them, but they've been saying a lot of nasty shit that they shouldn't have been saying, Steve, in my opinion. Leland Shank says, nope, Arnold gets in a hurry and can't see downfield. Hawkins comes in and moves the ball. People. Well, we'll see. I mean, Hawkins is a freshman, so Val's got that dub, baby, on defense. We're hitting them boys hard, but it was a good game, only won by 10. Yeah, well, Oklahoma's defense was hitting pretty hard too. And for there to be some kind of eluding statement that Josh Heupel took his foot off the gas so he could only squeak by 10 points, I think is a reach. Oklahoma's defense stopped Tennessee's offense, bottom line. Who's a sore loser, brother? My team didn't play yesterday. If you're talking about me being a sore loser because Oklahoma lost, my team's Alabama. My team was off yesterday, jackass. It's okay, Thomas. Just playing with you, brother. Tobin Bradshaw says OU's defense had that game on lock and handed our offense the ball in great position multiple times. That's true. If y'all don't mind, jump out of the chat real quick, smash that like button. It'll push the algorithm. Or, link this out to some of your buddies so they can come up in here. People that, you think will like this kind of show. And even if you think you can bring them in here to grill my ass, if you want them to come in here and talk shit to me, bring them on in here. Because the Vols defense is legit, I'm not too sure about that yet, Big Orange. I'm still not sold on the Tennessee defense, but we'll see. We'll see. They got some big games coming up. We'll find out. Big Orange says, if OU had a good quarterback, y'all would have won, though, says Tobin. That's true. I give you that. That's a good statement. MWG says, how did we manage to field a team with such an injured offensive line from the start? That I don't know. I know a lot of people are starting to hate on beating ball a little bit. Boondock Mojo Corey Cole says he's pretty damn solid. Richard Young's in the house. Arnold is not ready. Hawkins will give OU more input. By the way, there's so many comments coming in here now that I can't get to all of them. So if y'all want your comment read out and you want to ask me a question directly and get me to answer it quickly, hit the little money dollar sign at the bottom. Click on that, write your comment out, then hit send. And it'll highlight it and push to the top, and I'll read your comment above the others, and it'll be a nice little donation to the show as well. MWG says Tennessee didn't have to do anything. Heupel showed us mercy. You done lost your mind, man. Heupel didn't show y'all any mercy, man. That's discounting the Oklahoma defense. That's what I'm talking about right there, man. Josh Heupel wouldn't have. Now, let's say it was like 42-7, and they were down there about to score again at the beginning of the fourth quarter or something, and Josh didn't score. Yeah, I could see that. But when the game's still in doubt, it's 25-9 or 25 to whatever, he didn't take his foot off the gas, MW. No, he didn't. His offense got stopped. That's what happened. He better be lucky that Oklahoma's offense fumbled the ball back to him twice in Tennessee territory. Without that, I mean, that game could have ended up a lot different. It won't happen against the teams in the top 10, I can tell you that. Y'all fumbled that damn ball. That's why I told him. I was, if you just hit Nico a few times, he's going to get rattled. He's going to start fumbling that ball. And I think he will. You know you get bent over with grease or what, David? Says Tiazani 49. Big Orange says our defense would look even better if our offense could move the damn ball, but they kept screwing our defense, making them stay on the field, same as Oklahoma. Yeah, both teams struggled offensively. That's what I say. I say both defenses played pretty good. I say if you say that Josh Heupel took his foot off the gas, like you probably been maybe you've been vaping on some shit that you shouldn't be vaping on. I don't know, man. I just don't see that. Heupel ran the score up on Kent State. He didn't show mercy. He ran the score up on Kent State because Kent State allowed him to. Oklahoma's defense didn't allow him to. So, yeah. All right, now let's talk about those Skittle shitters. What y'all think about that game? We just talked about that earlier, but once again, Lincoln Riley can't complete the deal, man. He plays the bigger teams, even a Michigan team that's sort of in disarray, like I said earlier. How you gonna let Michigan beat up on you when Texas went in there and won by almost 20? Right? And Arkansas State went in there and only lost by 10. But you're going to let Michigan beat y'all? In a down year, what I consider a down year for Michigan. You had that game won, man, and you give it away once again. That's going to come back to haunt USC. That was a game that USC should have won. That's a game that could probably be very impactful in the rest of the season for Stinky Linky, Linky Boy, Tebow, the acronym that the Oklahoma Sooners give him, that stands for the bitch out west. USC's got some pretty interesting games coming up. They got Wisconsin, I think, this week. Alabama beat Wisconsin pretty good at Wisconsin, but there were some early turnovers that put Wisconsin behind the 8 ball. If Wisconsin goes into L.A. and plays that game tight, and USC struggles to beat Wisconsin, that's not going to be a good look for USC going forward. They better win that game convincingly, or they're going to get their ass grilled. Johnny Fairlane with a $4.99 donation. I appreciate the hell out of that, Johnny. If y'all don't mind, jump out, like I said earlier, and hit that like button. Pushes the algorithm. Link this out to a bunch of people. We're up in here early today, so probably not going to get as much traffic, but Johnny Fairlane says not being able to run the ball killed OU. I agree. Taylor Tatum looked really good early, but like I said, he got dinged and looked like he got targeted one time to me, and the shit wasn't even reviewed. The announcers didn't say nothing about it or nothing. So, questioning says Oklahoma should have won with the backup quarterback. Tobin Bradshaw's in the house. Tobin Bradshaw is one of our donors to the program, as you can see him down here in the scroll. Tobin Bradshaw says, I'm not really worried about it. We got knocked down to number 21, but we're still going to roll up on Texas and Alabama. Yeah, still got to play Texas and Alabama. You're right. But you also got to play Auburn. And that is the silver lining here for the Oklahoma people, is that y'all get to play Auburn. And Auburn's already lost to Cal, and they've lost to Arkansas in Auburn. Usually Auburn's a tough place to play, but it don't look like it is anymore. So the only persons that have trouble playing in Auburn is us. So what kind of boogaboo going on down there for Alabama? I don't know. Tobin Bradshaw says they're dang lucky that our defense wasn't able to score on any of those turnovers, and our starting cheetah went out with a broken leg. Yeah, I hated to see that for him, man. I was worried he got like a Joe Theismann break or something, the way the team just ran out there and gathered around him. I thought it was something really, really, really bad. $19.89 says the Barn Monkeys are down bad. Damn right. If y'all don't know who the Barn Monkeys are, I'm glad 1989 brought that up. I got nice little cute nicknames for a lot of teams in here that we don't particularly care for. And for Auburn, they're the Barn Monkeys because, everybody calls them Barners already because they got a lot of barns in Lee County. That's where Auburn's at. Explain the history here. But the barn in Lee County, so I just add a little something to it. And all of they barners, but they act like a bunch of damn wild-ass monkeys down there with their damn boosters, ruining everything. Ever since Pat Dye left, man, they can't keep a coach. They had Tommy Tuberville, who had a winning record against Nick Saban. He loses one bad game to Alabama after beating Alabama 6 years in a row, and they fire his ass, run him off. Gene Chizik comes in, wins the national title. He has a bad year, run him off. Gus Malzahn, same thing. Run him off. Doing decent. Runs him off. Bring in Brian Harsin. Let's blame everything on Brian Harsin. It's Brian Harsin's fault that Hugh Freeze is having such a tough time. That's what one of my old friends from high school, Jeff Payton, said. It's because of Brian Harsin. No, Brian Harsin was on there a year and a half, 2 years. Auburn's been screwing this thing up since Pat Dye retired, man. Mr. Dillygaff says, tell me if I'm pronouncing your name right, brother. Appreciate that. $9.99 donation. Damn right, boy. I can go buy me a mushroom Swiss combo from Hardee's. You ever tried that? That shit's good. You get you one of the mushroom Swiss burgers from Hardee's, man. They're off the chain. That gravy, off the chain. Anyway, Mr. Dillygaff with the $9.99 donation says, these injuries on offense are the death of any quarterback. The O-line has had 11 different linemen. All of the starting wide receivers from last year are hurt, and now we have running backs hurt as well. Shaking my damn head. Yeah, man, when injuries start piling up like that, I feel for you because it sort of derailed one of Alabama's teams a few years back. We had a bunch of injuries, went into Auburn and lost, but ended up backing into the playoffs because we didn't have to go play in an SEC title game. Ended up come back and win a national championship. We shouldn't have lost to Auburn that year, but we had so many damn injuries. Georgia, same thing, man. We sort of had the same issue going in the Georgia game that y'all had in this game. A bunch of our wide receivers were already injured, and then one guy that was good got injured during the game against Georgia in the first quarter or early part of the second quarter. And we had no wide receivers to throw to, even with Tua. I think it was Tua at quarterback. Or no, wasn't it? Was it Tua or was it Bryce Young? I can't remember. But we had a great quarterback, and it didn't matter because I think it was Bryce. It didn't matter because he had nobody to throw to. And that's the same thing y'all going through. People say you can't use injuries as an excuse, but yes, you can. You can absolutely use injuries as an excuse when you have that many. If it's just one or two, it's different. But the way they're piling up on Oklahoma, yeah, you can absolutely use that to defend some of the stuff that's happening to your team. Maybe even to help your coach out, to keep him off the hot seat. Well, I appreciate that, Mr. Dillygaff. I think the GAF stands for IGF. Stuff I don't give a beep. Yeah, I'm trying to stop that cuss. Not as much anyway. I'll say some of the PG-13 cuss words, but other than that, I'm not going to be doing that anymore. Tianzi49 says, hey, David, you got Ole Miss, South Carolina, Texas, Bama, Missouri, and LSU coming up. How many more wins? How many more wins? Who's David, by the way? I don't see no Davids in here. But Oklahoma has a tough road to hoe. And Texas, I'm not trying not to say that they're placating to Texas, but they're placating to Texas. They give Texas a pretty easy schedule, man. Texas got Mississippi State as their opening SEC game. They got Vanderbilt as their opening road SEC game. And then they got Kentucky and Florida. Come on, man. Now, I know Kentucky's decent off and on. And usually Florida back in the day was good. But Florida ain't been good for a while, man. And then they got Georgia at home. So they don't have to go anywhere tough, really. Except Texas A&M. And Texas A&M didn't look too good against Bowling Green the other day. Of course, Bowling Green almost beat Penn State. So Bowling Green might be your G5 school that gets in the playoffs. There's a lot of good-looking schools out there right now. Navy, by the way, beat Memphis yesterday. Memphis was the team everybody was getting on board with, saying that's going to be the G5 school that gets in because they're allowed one spot. But what if Navy gets in? And Army's undefeated too. Wouldn't that be something if the Navy and Army game, both teams were undefeated and playing for a playoff spot? That'd be epic. It'd be nice to see. I'd love to see an Armed Forces Academy get into the playoffs. That would be great. My favorite Armed Forces Academy, as you can see up there, is the Air Force. But any of the other ones would be just fine too. $19.89 says, hey, Posse, I heard that those Colorado Buffaloes are Texas state champs. They beat those Baylor Bears. Woohoo! We beat a team that was 4-8 last year. Yeah. We'll doggy, boy. Oh, con time, Deion Sanders. And his son, Sakazulu Sanders. Man, me. They were telling y'all, man, after the game, man, hey, y'all need to put some respect on our name now. And my son should be the Heisman Trophy candidate at the top of the list since they just beat the Baylor Bears, who were 4-8 last year. I might be wrong. They might have been worse than that. They might have been 3-9. I can't remember. Y'all let me know. What was Baylor's record last year? They ain't played nobody, man. Even the team that beat the shit out of them, man, Nebraska, ended up losing to Illinois yesterday. But those are two undefeated teams. But there's still a little ways to go. If it was still the old Pac-12 in place, Deion would be in real trouble right now. He wouldn't be having Baylor on his schedule. But he's got some tougher games coming up. But the way the Big 12 is looking to me, I mean, because Kansas State lost badly to BYU the other day. I tried to tell everybody, man, that the team that they need to watch, everybody's talking about who's going to take over in the Big 12, who's going to be the team that arises from mid-card status to take over championship status. And everybody was talking about Oklahoma State and Kansas State, Texas Tech, Utah and Arizona. I'm like, y'all better watch out for BYU, man. BYU was the last non-Power 5 team, and that's Power 4. They were the last, what you could consider a G5 school to win the national championship in 1984. Some people are like, well, what about Notre Dame in 1988? Notre Dame is considered a power team, even though they're not in a power conference. They're halfway in, halfway out in the ACC because the ACC lets them bend them over. That's another topic for another day. Scratch my old bald ass head real quick. All right. It stands for, does it look like I give a Y'all not going to get me to say it today, man. Y'all not going to do it, man. Y'all know what y'all trying to do. Killer Breeze does it all the time, man. He's always trying to fool me up into cussing. He's trying to get me in trouble, man. You know, if me and Killer Breeze went to high school, man, together, we'd probably have a lot of damn stories to tell. Richard Young says Sanders is the jewelry store pimp. Damn, that's a good one. I like that. I'm going to have to keep that one right up here. I'm going to have to remember that one, Richard. Oh, con time. Yeah, he looks like he's working a pawn store somewhere, right? Maybe you can get him a position with Pawn Stars or something. They bring that show back. Even though it's supposed to be reality TV. None of that shit's reality TV. It's fake. Michael Hapgood says, I apologize to Vol fans for our piss-poor offensive performance. No need to apologize there, Michael, because their offense didn't look that great either. They only scored 6 points in the second half. They said Josh Heupel was letting off the gas. Okay, whatever. You know, that's bullshit. Don't be scared of what? What am I scared of? I can't go back in time and go to high school with you, man. Unless you can find a DeLorean with Marty and Doc in it's willing to let us go back in 1984 and we can go hang out, and who knows, maybe I could be a roughneck like you. And then, you know, I could transfer to LSU. We can hang out there too. Eat some crawfish. Heard that crawfish down there is like on steroids and shit, boy. I love me some crawfish, boy. But I've been told by many Louisianans, including our boy that's not in here today for some reason. We're going to get on him, man. Where's Ryan Thibodeau at? Big Cojones Kelly. Hines 5780 says, Nick Saban said on game day that Coach Prime was one of his favorite coaches. Well, good for him. You think that makes a damn to me? You think that's going to make me like your boy? You say, oh, Hines 57, he won't tell you all this, but he loves con time. I'm not doing that to troll him. I'm not doing that to be funny. I'm being dead serious. Me and Hines went back and forth on con time, Deion Sanders. And every time I start talking con time, he try to bring something in here to try to take up for him. What you don't realize, Hines, is while Nick Saban is a great coach, that doesn't make him a completely great person. Not overall. Nick Saban done some shit out here that he shouldn't have done politically. And I called his ass out for it. So I don't care if he likes con time. They ain't going to make me like him just because Nick Saban will. If I tell him Nick Saban likes him, then he'll start liking him. Wrong answer. Yeah, you agree with him. Stop lying, man. Me and you had an argument a while back. He was like, I'm going to get on your show, man, and I'm going to tell you how it is about con time. You ain't either. Because I ain't listening to that shit about con time. He's a con man. I don't give a damn if that boy wins 9 or 10 games this year. I'm still going to call him con time, man. Because he's a con man. When you see someone that's a con man, it doesn't matter how many damn football games they win. You can be the greatest coach in the world, man, and not be a good person. And he's a fake, man. He hides behind religion. That's another thing that bothers me about him. I don't care, man, if you grew up watching him as a Braves fan. I don't care. I grew up watching Bear Bryant and watching Nick Saban play and shit. Don't mean I'm going to agree with them on everything and not call their ass out when they're saying something wrong. You know, Bear Bryant was alcoholic. He could barely coach his last couple of years, man. He had this tower. He used to go up in it and look over the field and try to, you know, supposedly dissect shit. Last couple of years when he's up in that tower, he was up there passed out. So just because someone's a great coach doesn't necessarily mean they're just perfect and they're a great person across the board. That's all I'm saying. OCF, you excited about this coming weekend? It's going to feel like the Super Bowl, man. It's going to be a hell of a game. Damn right. Alabama versus Georgia is coming up. Y'all want to talk about that? Donald Trump is coming into town. Now, whether he's a Georgia fan or Alabama fan, I don't know. He may pose as a Georgia hedge pisser. By the way, that's their nickname. Auburn's the Barn Monkeys. Georgia's the hedge pissers. Texas is the Long Turds. Ohio Stank University. The USC Skittle Shitters. Am I missing anybody? Yeah, it's going to be great, man. It's going to be off the chain. You got the president here. Hopefully nobody tries to take a shot at his ass like these other jackasses have been doing, all these cowards out there that hide in the bushes and try to shoot somebody. We catch somebody down here trying to take a shot at the president, they probably won't make it to the Secret Service. We can take your ass down there to Utah, Alabama, and drop them in that damn swamp down there. Let the damn gators have them. All con time cares about is con time, and that's 100. That's right, Fred Goss. I agree with you. Come on, man. No, you never said that. Come on. You told me one time when we was having a disagreement over con time that you wanted to come on and debate me about him and defend him. You don't remember that? Sanders could not hold a candle to Bo Jackson. What about that? He wouldn't tackle his ass either. If he can run over Brian Bosworth, I'm sure as hell know he could probably knock con time in the middle of next week, probably knock him out of his frame. Tim Gillespie's in the house. He has his badge. He's deputized. By the way, you'll see people in here with a badge. And if you see someone with a badge in here, it's because they're in the outlaw posse. They've been deputized. It's not but $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week, just half a bottle of water for the outlaw. It's a little join button over there by the subscribe button. Hit that join button. And like I said, it's a great deal. Just 75 cents a week, man. Y'all can afford that, right? You'll be deputized. You get a random 4 horseman shout out on the actual podcast, as well as possibly the comment of the day. Can't get to all these comments. If y'all want to push your comment to the top, hit the little money dollar sign at the bottom, make a small donation, push it to the top, and I'll read your comment out. Now, Alabama and Georgia's coming up, so let's talk about Alabama and Georgia for just a second. It says here, Alabama versus Georgia will be a pressure cooker, and Kirby Smart will feel it the most. With Nick Saban retired, Georgia fans are sure Kirby Smart is the king of college football. To prove it, Smart must come to Tuscaloosa and beat Alabama, who, by the way, they're 1-8 against in the last 9 games. Because we didn't play them in that second national championship season. We screwed ourselves at Tennessee. And then Brian Kelly got lucky as hell and beat us too. That's why I said it. They lucky. Yeah. Alabama Crimson Tide pressure cooker awaits the Georgia Bulldogs. It's one of the biggest games of the 2024 season. The college football world will focus attention on Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium in terms of playoff contention. The loser will not lose much. In other ways, Kirby Smart has much to lose, much more than Kalen DeBoer. Of course, this is their time. All this time they've been talking that smack, a lot of teams, about Alabama. Well, when Nick Saban leaves, Alabama won't be shit. When Nick Saban leaves, we're going to beat Alabama. Okay? Well, what if you don't? What if you don't beat Alabama without Nick Saban? Then what's your excuse going to be? 3 teams already found out that we can beat you without Nick Saban. Wisconsin found out the hard way. But no more excuses, man. Here's y'all's time. Here's y'all's time to beat us. Now, people said that shit after Bear Bryant left, too. It took us a little while to recover from Bear Bryant, but we did. About 13 years later, a guy by the name of Gene Stallings won a national championship. People think we're just Bear Bryant and Saban. There's a guy in the middle there that won a national title named Gene Stallings. And even before Bear Bryant, we had Frank Thomas winning national championships, because back then the Rose Bowl was the de facto national championship game. And they're fixing to play this stupid-ass commercial. It says here, but Kirby cannot be king if he can't beat Alabama. His history against Saban and Alabama is humbling. In 6 tries, Smart bested his mentor just once. A couple of lesser coaches than Smart fared better against Saban than Kirby. College football is a new post-Saban era, but Smart's failures against Saban are not erased. Unless the Georgia incurs some serious practice injuries, the Bulldogs will come into Tuscaloosa as the betting favorite. The current spread has the Bulldogs as a 2.5 favorite, but I've also seen 4.5 in some places that the Bulldogs are favored. According to ESPN Analytics, the Crimson Tide has a 67% probability of winning. So the ESPN Analytics is completely different from what Las Vegas is saying. Las Vegas has got Georgia a 2.5 favorite right now, and ESPN Analytics has Alabama winning at 67% probability, probably basing it all on Georgia struggling against Kentucky. But I'm not going to be fooled into that. I know from seeing it numerous times in the past where a team struggles like that against a team they're not supposed to struggle against, then next week they just beat the shit out of them. Beat the shit out of the next team that's supposed to be better than the team they just struggled with. Happened just now with Alabama. We struggled with South Florida, and then we went on the road to Camp Randall, which is usually a pretty intimidating atmosphere, and beat the shit out of Wisconsin 42-10. And it was a legitimate 42-10. That 42-16 over South Florida was not legitimate. We scored 3 touchdowns in the last 5 minutes. But, yeah. That's my take on the Georgia and Alabama game. What do y'all think about that game? Let me get y'all's predictions in here. What do y'all think? Who's going to win that game between Georgia and Alabama? It's 2.5 right now. That's the betting line. It has been as high as 4.5 for Georgia in Vegas. Georgia did struggle with Kentucky, who got blew out by South Carolina. So that sort of sticks in my mind a little bit. I ain't going to lie. I try to play it off and say we shouldn't really look at that, but it's hard not to look at it. I think Alabama can win the game. It's going to be close, but this is Georgia's time. This is their time. This is Kirby Smart's time to step up and say, hey, the baton has been passed to me and the Georgia Bulldogs. The Georgia Hedge Pissers are the new team of college football. We are the team that's taking over. Here's their time. Now, they did win 2 national championships back-to-back. They didn't win it last year. So, yeah, this is Georgia's time to take the baton and run with it. Let's see if they can do it. Hines 57A says, Bo Jackson is another one of those all-time favorites of mine from childhood and would have been the greatest, but he done too much damage to his body playing 2 sports, man. That's why you don't play 2 sports like that, man. At the same time, in a professional level. It's just, it takes a toll on your body, man. I believe that's what happened to him. 1989M says, I want to see OCF and Auntie Louise in a simulcast during the ball game next Saturday. Battle to the death. Well, y'all get in touch with him and let him know, because I was in his little comment section one time and he blocked me because he was talking some shit about Donald Trump, and then he was talking about Alabama, 2 things that I like. I'm not a Republican. Actually, I'm still a registered Democrat, but I'm not really a Democrat. I'm more of an independent conservative. What used to be a conservative Democrat, but those don't exist anymore. I'm an independent now, but yeah. Anyway, I got in this shit, and he used to be called Uncle Lou, but we changed his name because he's a little pansy ass and he blocked me. So we call him Auntie Louise. That's Uncle Lou's new name. Because I think he's transgender too. I think he's transitioning. He may transition before the game. And, yeah, me and him can have at it. To the death. If y'all want to see Auntie Louise lose his bowels, then tell him to come on over here. We'll do it. So at what point do you change the Democratic registration? I've been lazy, man. I need to go down and do it for real. I need to go down and change it to independent. See, back when I registered in the late 80s, the lady at the voting place told me I need to declare Democrat or Republican. And I'm not but 18 years old, so I don't know no better. And back then, being a conservative Democrat in the South was the thing, back in the late 80s. Now, not so much. But you're right. I got to get that shit changed post-haste. All right. Y'all got any more topics y'all want to talk about? I just want to jump in here right quick and try to calm the feathers of some of the people out there losing their shit. Think everything's going to be all right for Oklahoma. They're going to have some growing pains, more so than Texas. Texas got lucky on a few things by getting Steve Sarkisian when they got him. He's had a little bit of a head start on Brent Venables. So, we'll see. Any more topics? Anything y'all want to ask me before I get out of here? Go ahead and drop it in the comment section real quick, and I'll try to answer your questions before I get out of here. Also, this podcast or this live stream will go to podcast after we get off here. And if y'all don't mind, go in there and like, share, comment, and subscribe some more on it. Subscriptions and sharing are most important. Y'all can just share me out, my channel, to your buddies out there. Don't matter what fan base they root for. I talk about every team in college football. So let's get this party crunk, man. We're almost to 5,000. I never thought I'd get this podcast to 5,000 subscribers, but it's almost there. We got less than 300 to go, like 280. It's 280 more subscribers, and we'll be at 5,000. Be a big milestone for me and the Outlaw Posse and all the people that's helped push this program to where it's at today. Well, all right, boys and girls, I'm going to get up out of here. KMCA to all the other teams. Class is now officially dismissed.